Hello everyone, my name is Devyn Rummel and I am from Norwood High School. This summer I went to work in Essington, Pennsylvania at Piasecki Aircraft Corporation. My work I did at Piasecki included the Ares project, work in the shop, work on Firefly in Texas, and part delivery and pickup. These are some pictures of the Ares project. You have the Ares drawing here. I have an Ares gearbox that I worked on. This is the Ares test stand. The Ares assembly area, a simulator for the Ares project, and this was inside the test center where all the engineers worked on the computers. The work I did in the shop, it included a lot of cleanup because they were rather unorganized, so we had to get them organized. And then the organization of old files and records. Their financial group needed help keeping the records, moving them from one building into another building, so I got to help with that. Down here on the bottom, the boss assigned me to make a new shop layout with all the machines that they had in the shop. So I got a picture of the shop and I drew all the machines in, and then over here I made it digital, and the boss actually approved of the design I made, so they might have their shop set up like this now. I got to go on a business trip down to Texas. We drove 1,700 miles. It took us 30 hours. We took everything right here and put it in that Enterprise truck, and we rented another car and we drove down to Texas. We put in a rail system for a company that's building rocket prototypes. So we went in and put in these rails down here. The company, Piasecki, built the yellow carriers, and the company was getting ready to pour the concrete. We got out of there Saturday and they had concrete coming on Monday, so we got out of there just in time. Part delivery and pickup. I think it was my first week there. I got to drive the company minivan up through Philadelphia. I had to drive through Philadelphia to pick up parts, and then I took them to the powder coating company, and from the powder coating company I took parts back to Piasecki. Piasecki was they made the really fine adjustments to the parts that the Piasecki company couldn't make. So they took them to Piasecki and then they brought them back and put them on their helicopters. The surprises that I ran into. The language in the shop, in the engineering area, and even in the office was just foul all the time. Everyone used all the words they knew. Some of the people worked some pretty crazy hours. The boss would sometimes come back after dinner. He'd go home and eat and then come back to work and work till 10 and show back up at 7 the next day. I was surprised that I got to go to Texas, because I was thinking as an intern I wouldn't be allowed to go on a road trip, especially not with the company. So all their amazing flight machines they had, they actually made the prototype for the first dual prop helicopter. So the Chinook that the Army uses, they made that. They basically made that helicopter. I got to see their Speedhawk. Their Speedhawk was the helicopter they made that broke the speed record for helicopters. So Essington, Pennsylvania, this is where I lived. There was a train that ran into Philadelphia, so I got to ride the train quite a bit when I wanted to go see the attractions. The neighborhoods that I lived in were clean. There was no trash. There was a lot of vegetation, so it was a really nice place. And Philadelphia was full of museums, and here's the art museum that was one of many. There was 3 or 4 science museums. In the middle is me with my host family and their dog that didn't like me. Over on the left is me with my family. They came out for the 4th of July, so we got to spend the 4th of July in Philadelphia. In my free time, I would go to the gym. It was about a mile away from the house, so it would take me a while to get there and back. I wandered around the Tennicum Township, which is the 2 small areas around Philadelphia, around Essington. I took the train into Philadelphia, and I spent the weekends at a coworker's house. She had a pool and invited me over, so that's where I spent the hot weekends. For future Pinterns, it may be tough and it might not be fun at all times, but it's worth every second of the experience. I didn't have the best time the first few weeks I was out there, but it got a lot better. And I'd like to thank my family, my host family, Fred Piasecki and everyone at Piasecki, Sarah Holbrook, and everyone here from Pinhead that made this trip possible. Thank you guys.